welcome to our honorary property sisters, Piot and Jay from Hammered. And they are joining us at the start of 2021, here, first week back in January, to talk about kind of the outlook for this year and what they foresee going to be happening in the auction market, of which they are experts. So over to you guys.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Helen. And I think property market is quite unpredictable for the next year. It's very difficult to judge what's going to happen. But what we know is that auctions kind of are the most adaptable marketplace because things happen very quickly. So within like 3 or 4 weeks, we can see actually what is happening in the market. I think predictions for especially February and March, because of the stamp duty holidays, I think February and March are going to be super busy. And in general, there isn't a flood of properties entering the market. It's just a fairly kind of decent amount of properties being offered, and people are looking to purchase them quickly to avoid the stamp duty. So I think this is going to keep moving. But I think we're towards the middle and the end of the year, there's going to be all sorts of things happening because of the end of the eviction bans and of landlords not being able to enforce the debts and stuff like that. So there'll be more repossessions, there'll be more receiverships, and there's going to be way more properties being offered that kind of artificially aren't able to be offered right now. So that's kind of it. If I was considering selling something this year, I would definitely try to squeeze it within the first quarter of the year, rather than wait later on, because like we don't know what's going to happen later on. If you're looking to hold the property for like 3 to 5 years or more, yeah, it's okay, keep it. But if you're looking to sell within like next couple of years, I would probably consider selling right now, just to kind of make sure that you can optimize your assets quickly.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is talking about kind of supply and demand. And at the moment, it seems like there's limited supply, and obviously that has the the effect of increasing in prices. But when supply opens up again, as we expect it to later on in the kind of second half of the year, probably, then an increase in supply normally leads to a decrease in price. So that's really insightful. Thank you, Piot.
Yeah, it's the supply and demand thing, but also the kind of perception of the market, because still at the moment people are fairly optimistic, and we don't know what they're going to be like in June, July, September. So and once that keeps changing, then the prices might be coming down.
I hate it when Piot goes first. He picks all the really good juicy important bits, and I've got like 5 minutes to film just going, oh yeah, what Piot said was amazing. But the truth is, what he said is pretty much, and we've been talking about this for weeks. Like we've been, part of our plan for 2021 is like, right, where are the currents moving? Like where do we need to start like picking up like momentum and the different forces kicking off in the market? Part of one of the consultancy roles that I have is I do some business development for a national auction brand, and I talk to all these asset managers that operate on behalf of Lloyds Banking Group, Halifax, RBS, and all the people who are dealing with repossession. So I get to talk to those people who are fairly high up in the chain of like where you're going to get the information first is probably in those repossession units within the bank, but then they have to feed that down to the asset managers who are dealing with the stock, and then it filters down. So I kind of get the information fairly close to source without it being the source. Had a really interesting conversation with the chap literally a week before Christmas, and he said, look, we're everyone's working from home, we're at reduced staff, because obviously they deal with repossessions and selling the repossessed stock. So at the moment, they know nothing is happening, and they're scaling everything up for August. And he said something really very interesting to me. He said, we're expecting, and the reason for that is obviously the repossession ban, for lack of a better word, ends in March, April this year, but the courts are 5 to 6 months behind. Right. So he's expecting not the floodgates to open in August, September. He's expecting there to be a whole punch through of stock there where it was half dealt with before the ban had come in. So they're going to come in. There's a backlog there to clear. But he's expecting by the end of 2021, so, you know, beginning of Q4 to end of Q4, for there to be the same kind of stock, repo stock enter the market, you know, less maybe 10, 15% of the figures that were seen in 2010, which is obviously, you know, when things started to kick off after the 2008 crisis. So he's expecting 10 to 15% figures less this time, which, if you think about it, is massive.
Yeah.
You know, for those kind of figures to be at that kind, for him to expect those kind of figures, you know, he's not expecting 2010 levels, but he's expecting, you know, within 10% of that, which is, you know, that's market crash level activity without there being a market crash. You know, technically no market crash. You know, property values have been on the up, you know, in 2020, you know, beating 2016 figures, you know, hands down. There's been good sales records throughout auctions and agents that have kept open from the first lockdown. It's going to be really very interesting to see. I think the quality of asset that people are paying attention to has also changed drastically. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of unfolds from that. You know, the popular assets that were, you know, 2019, 2020 are not going to be the popular assets 2021 to 2022. So we're focusing on what that looks like and how that's turning. And I'm just trying to say anything to make myself sound important, because Piot took all the good points.
That's fascinating what you say about those levels that are expected. That's really, really like, that's dramatic, isn't it? It really is. And in terms of when you say about kind of what the stock, people are looking at different stock without giving your own strategy away, like how do you think that will change? How do you think that will differ?
I think residential tenanted stock is really difficult to move at the moment, because people are perceiving that they're, you know, the amount of due diligence you want to be doing on a tenant before you're buying tenanted stock in this market is 10 to the power of what you were doing beforehand, right? Because if you're buying a Knightsbridge flat and the person who's there was on a £10,000 a month salary at a JP Morgan Chase but has been let go or whatever, you know, you now know that you're buying a problem tenant that you can't get out for at least, you know, April, and then 6 months notice, and you're holding an asset and you're not getting that. So tenanted properties at the moment are on a bit of a struggle. But then saying that, you know, there are still people who are actively looking for fully let, fully compliant HMOs, you know, and I don't see that as an avenue of something that's changing, because with an HMO, you can easily fill a room or two with some DSS kind of tenants, you know, and some good quality DSS tenants, or you can take on some housing association stuff, or, you know, you can there are so many ways to make that malleable. On a single let unit, your options are limited. So if you're buying, you have to perceive that you're buying a problem. So and actually that probably feeds into Piot's first point, which is if you do have something single let like that and you're looking to dispose, maybe you're not even disposing of a problem, but you're looking at thinking, wow, maybe something is going to happen in Q3, Q4. Let me get rid of my quiet stock. Maybe that's the kind of stuff that you want to be shifting through to auction in the first quarter. Maybe that's something there. If you can offer a discount to offset risk value, you know, you can put yourself into a good position very easily.
Yeah. That's fascinating, and it's something that, you know, I as an investor always look at. You know, you just haven't used the word that I do, but exits, isn't it? And it's on a single let tenanted property. That's really only one exit. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much for your insights, chaps. It's really, really helpful, and I know the subscribers are just going to love that. So hopefully we'll have you back soon and you can give us some more updates and how the year's progressing. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks, Helen.